I'm Amy Henshin, a 4-H youth development educator with the University of Illinois Extension. DuPage, Kane, and Kendall County 4-H wants to challenge you to use your skills to observe and identify birds in our Bird Identification Challenge. But before you get out birding, we want to give you some tips that can help guide your experience.
One of the best parts about birding is that it requires very few supplies. To do birding at the most basic level, you just need your senses. To get started identifying what you are seeing and hearing, you may want to consider bringing something to document your observations, like paper and a pencil or a notes app. You'll also want to find a bird guide to reference. You can get great bird field guidebooks or install bird ID apps for your phone or tablet, many of which are free. For beginning birders, we recommend getting a pocket guide or downloading a free local guide to birds if one is available. In Chicagoland, the Field Museum puts out a number of free PDF guides to common winter and summer birds that can help get you started and narrow your identification to the most likely suspects. Find links to these resources in the video description. Binoculars are a great tool for birding if you have access to them, but they are not required. Binoculars let you observe a bird more closely without disturbing it. This can help you get a better look at the bird's identifying features and behaviors. You can read more about how to use binoculars in the video description. Another tool you may want to consider is a camera, especially one with decent zoom capabilities. You can use cameras to take photos of the birds you spot. You can then take time to more closely examine these photos later to help you identify the bird correctly using resources like bird books, apps, and websites. Birdwatching can take time and patience, so it's important to plan accordingly and dress for the weather. Having an outfit with pockets can also help you organize your tools for this activity. You can watch birds anywhere and anytime, but you can use some knowledge of bird habitat and behavior to increase your chances of seeing our feathered friends. Birding tends to be better at the beginning or end of the day, as birds are more active and looking for food at those times. Try scheduling your birdwatching then if possible. Besides time of day, time of year matters in birdwatching. Spring is a particularly great time for birding as birds can be more easily seen in trees that haven't yet filled out with leaves. Many birds migrate in spring and fall, so you will see a wider variety of birds at your location during these times as birds pass through on their way to their summer homes. That's not to say you can't bird year-round. There are birds to be found every season, and you can use bird guides to figure out what you're most likely to see at any given time. When planning where to bird, it can be helpful to think about what a person needs to survive. Food, water, and shelter all come to mind. Birds need the same things. You can look for birds in places where they can meet those three needs. If you know a person in your neighborhood that has bird feeders, that might be a great place to start looking for birds, as it meets a bird's need for food. With feeders, don't just look at the feeder itself, but also scan down to the ground around the feeder, where you might find more birds grazing on seeds that have fallen. Birds can also be found in plants and trees along the street, in yards, parks, and nature preserves. You might be more likely to spot larger birds near bodies of water like ponds or streams. If you have a bird you'd like to see in mind, take a look at a guidebook to get an idea of what kind of habitat they prefer. Then select your birding location with that in mind. Once you set yourself up with gear and planning, you're ready to go out birdwatching. You can observe birds in whatever way is most appealing to you. That might mean sitting on your balcony or porch and observing quietly for a set amount of time. It also might mean taking a stroll in your neighborhood or a local natural area. To start, we recommend staying in one place and observing silently for a few minutes to hone your senses. Take in your surroundings, listen to the world around you, and notice habitat, movement, and colors. If you see movement, follow that with your eyes to see if you spot a bird or other animal. No matter if you select to birdwatch seated or on foot, You'll want to try to minimize your movement and be quiet so the birds won't fly away. If possible, we recommend birding by ear. You'll often have more success or earlier success finding birds with your ears than your eyes, as many times it's easier to hear a bird than to spot it. You can try to learn bird calls to help you identify a bird, or you can use the calls or other bird noises, like a woodpecker drumming on a tree, to help guide your eyes to where the bird might be. When you see a bird, don't feel like you need to immediately turn to your guidebook to start an ID. Instead, keep your eyes on the bird as long as possible and look closely at its color pattern, habitat, behavior, shape, and size. Mentally note anything distinctive. Then, after the bird flies away, jot some notes down about the bird and/or try to turn to your guidebook to get an ID. One guide you can try on the go that uses the characteristics we covered in our bird identification video is the Merlin App. This free app from the Cornell Lab of Ornithology is pretty neat. Let's take a look at it in action. Here's a photo of a bird I saw out on a bird walk today. Let's try to ID it with Merlin. Merlin starts by asking where and when you saw the bird. You can use the location feature on your phone or type in your zip code. Next, it asks you to estimate the bird's size. Then, it has you select up to 3 colors you noticed on the bird. Last, it asks you about behaviors, what the bird was doing when you saw it. Like magic, it uses this information to give you a narrow list of likely possibilities. You can then listen to calls and get more info on those options before selecting your bird. In this case, the app identified a red-winged blackbird as the most likely ID, which matches my bird exactly. Audubon's free app offers similar features. One important note is that you're going to see or hear birds that you're not going to be able to identify, and that's okay. Some birds will just not give you the right look, might be in bad lighting, or have a color variation that might be tough to ID, for example. I've been birding more than 25 years and still have difficulty telling certain birds apart. Just try to keep on improving your observation skills and enjoy your time observing. If you don't see any birds, don't get discouraged. Try to look for other evidence that birds were there, such as a bird nest, bird poop, or cracked seeds. Even if you don't spot many birds, you may find some other surprises along the way. Take in your surroundings and enjoy the experience. This hobby is one that takes practice to master, but you can use resources like bird books and identification apps to help you build your confidence and skills. Plus, you don't need to be a master birder to enjoy observing these beautiful creatures. Getting out birding connects us with the natural world and can bring us joy and delight. It can also be a great family bonding experience. Enjoy birdwatching in whatever way works for you. Just get out there. Visit our website go.illinois.edu/STEM4HDKK to learn more about our 4-H Bird Identification Challenge and get access to additional resources. We're excited to hear about your experiences. Happy birding!